they can improve their mental health and then in turn improve their health.
Well, first I want to clear up the stigma around like mental health because a lot of people associate mental health with mental illness. Now, you can have a physical illness, but you can also have physical health. So you want to be healthy physically. Well, mental health is not necessarily something that's a negative stereotype. It's actually something that we need to, just like our physical health, work on. And so the tip that I would give anybody is to, again, to take the time to listen to your body, to see what it is that you need to do to become the best version of yourself physically. Even get enough rest, taking time for yourself, unplugging every now and then, going on a walk, going to the beach, going to the mountains, going out in nature, fly a kite, paint something, write a song, do some poetry, read a book, anything that will allow your mind to kind of disengage from all of the noise that we find ourselves that's being bombarded with us from all of these social media, stuff on the radio, stuff on television, while we're driving, while we're working. We are in information overload. And that can affect our mental health, which can also affect our physical health. So we have to make it a point for us to, again, intentionally do that so that we can be better. On my podcast, because you talked about my book, which I happen to have a copy right here, it's entitled Heal, Help Elevate and Learn, and the subtitle is A Guide to Healing Your Inner Child. I say that my podcast is not here to end the conversation about inner child healing or inner child trauma. My podcast is to start the conversation. And see, I want to make a commonplace where people are okay with talking about things that they haven't talked about before. I want to make it to where it's okay for us to say, look, I need to see some help. I need to go talk to somebody. I need a professional to help me work through this. Because I've noticed that a lot of adults, grown folks, are living out their inner child trauma and wounds, and they don't even recognize it. And that's one of the reasons I wrote the book, because I wanted to make sure that they understand that there's something you can do. And I tell people this all the time. What happened to you may not have been your fault, but it's your responsibility. I'll say that again for those that are taking notes. What happened to you may not have been your fault, but it is your responsibility. And when I say it's your responsibility to heal. It's your responsibility to intentionally do what's necessary in order for you to free yourself from that trauma, from that wound. But if you don't intentionally do that, you would carry it around the rest of your life and saying, well, this is just the way I am. And I tell people again, it's not what you do, but why you do it. And we'll ask questions of everybody else, but rarely do we ask questions of ourselves. And that's how I really started my own journey. I mean, I started my personal development journey asking myself a question. So, Conan, why do you act in this way? Why do you respond in this way? What is it about you that has you showing up like this in these situations?
Yeah.
So I started doing some digging, and I found out that I had some issues. I had some stuff that I needed to work on. Now, and believe me, I did as much as I could on my own. But there came a point where it's like, you know what? I need some help.
Yeah.
And so I got some.
That's good. Now, a lot of people are embarrassed to ask for help because they're too egotistical, they have too much pride. They think that they're strong, they can handle this. And I realized not too long ago when I said something to somebody that didn't go over real well, and that got me in my head. And I had my first ever bout with anxiety at this point. And it took me out for a month and a half easy, and it was not good. I didn't know how to handle it. And if I hadn't have had the tools that I already knew that I could use, then I I don't I can't say where I would be now.
Right.
And I feel bad for the people that don't have those tools, that don't go out and try to learn those tools, that don't ask for help.
Right. Right.
So, how would you approach somebody that is too proud to ask for help?
Well, I remember hearing this one man say, make a friend before you need a friend. Because the time you need one is the wrong time to try to make one. Okay?
That's
Make a
good.
friend before you need a friend. Because the time you need one is the wrong time to try to make one. And
That's
so,
good.
those people that have an issue with asking for help, I would question, how many friends do you have? I mean, seriously, how many friends do you have? And it's not just a one-way street. It's not about the friend that you. It's not about what you can get from them, but what can you give to them. It has to be a reciprocal relationship, and that's why you have to build. You have to work at friendship. You have to work at any relationship for it to be anything that's worth having. So you have to invest in a friend. You have to invest in friendships. And I would tell people this, you know, get you a friend and live in another state, another city, somebody that don't know the name, don't know the plan, somebody that you can throw up on. And I even did a video about that because we all need somebody we can throw up on. Because our bodies, our physical bodies, when we get sick, when we have drunk too much or got food poisoning, the first thing our body wants to do is expel, get it out. I want to get it out. And sometimes it come out of one or both ends. But we get it out. we we get it out so the healing process can start. And emotionally, mentally, we may find ourselves sick. And we need somebody to throw up on, somebody to get it out, somebody that we can talk to. But you can't do that with somebody who you haven't built that type of relationship with. So my first thing is build friendships, true, lasting friendships. Not just what can you do for me and what can I do for you, but be the type of person that you would like to have as a friend. And you will attract that type of person. You will be that person for somebody else. And when the time comes, they will call on you. But then when the time comes, you're going to have to call on them. So I encourage build friendships.
That's awesome. Now, I just took part in a documentary called The Friendship Paradox. And
Nice.
the thing is, it's all about making friends after the age of 30, I believe. I don't know, but it's all about making friends and friendship questions and things like that. It's really cool. Now, I'm going to put the link to the event for the documentary in the comments because the premiere of it is actually on Friday. So
Nice.
it's really cool. I'm excited. But I put the link there in the comments and I hope you guys can watch it and look it up if you can't find it. If you can't find the comment, look it up on Facebook. It is called The Friendship Paradox. So I hope you guys all register to watch that with me. I know I'm going to be watching it. I'm going to be celebrating it because that is not the first documentary I've ever been in, but that is something I can celebrate. And I like to
That's it.
celebrate. So Um, you were talking a little bit about a book and a little bit about a podcast. Can you tell us where we can find each of those?
Well, actually, it's one link. It's SacconiPrince.com/heal. Then there's a / at the end of the word heal. And in fact, the book has been life changing. Not just for me for writing it, but I've had people tell me about, just the approach of how helpful it's been to just consider that they're walking or carrying around childhood wounds and childhood trauma. And the reason that I give a distinction between the two, because a childhood wound, to me, is something that could have happened just one time, and it hurt you. But a trauma is something, to me, that goes on, that's for an extended period of time. And so there are a lot of things that we have yet to really unpack or even label, for that matter. And again, behavior. Because one of the questions I ask is, is your current day behavior seated in something from your childhood? And if we're honest with ourselves, if we really take a look at ourselves, we will see that a lot of the stuff that we do as adults was seeded in our childhood. We thought that we weren't enough, so we're an overperformer. We thought that we weren't loved, so we are a people pleaser. And I mean, in fact, the list goes on and on. But the book, it's a layman's approach to really such a sensitive issue, which is why I wanted to do the podcast. Because on the podcast, I've had therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, and coaches. All of them, they are experts in their field, and I actually used them to help unpack some of the stuff that I wrote in the book. And it was really refreshing to understand and see that I was on the right track with a lot of stuff I was talking about. But I wanted to make sure that I, again, started the conversation, not ended. I just want to start the conversation. I want people to take a minute, take a moment, just look at themselves and say, is there something I'm doing? Is there a behavior that I have, something that keeps showing up that could be seated in something that happened in my childhood? And it takes somebody close to you. If you can't see it, like we've oftentimes said, what Les Brown told Dr. West, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame.
Yeah.
Well, there are people around you that are close enough to you, they can see stuff you can't. And so being able to have somebody close enough to you that you trust, that really wants you to succeed, they want the best for you, and asking them, why do you think I do this? Or is there anything I'm missing? Is there something that I'm not seeing? Because sometimes we're blind to it. We've been in it for so long, we've been doing it for so long, we can't even see it. And when it's brought to our attention, we sometimes try to explain the way, try to dismiss it. But if we are honest with ourselves, we'll see, hey, that's an issue, that's a problem, and this is where it comes from, and I need to get some help.
Yeah, that is so true. So you guys should definitely check out his book, check out his podcast, because he is doing amazing work. Again, you can find that at SacconiPrince.com/heal, and then there's another slash. So check that out, and definitely check that out, because I know he's done amazing work, and I definitely want to say thank you, Sacconi. I appreciate you hopping in here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Oh, yeah, Jeff. Well, hey, listen, anytime I can help you, Jeff, in fact, all you got to do is call. I do appreciate your consistency in what it is you're doing and the help that you're doing, again, by just raising that level of awareness that people shouldn't take life for granted. And they should honestly make every second count, because you never know when it's going to be your last. So I applaud you for your consistency, your diligence in helping people to understand that they have something that they need to live for, and they need to not take life for granted. So thank you, Jeff.
Thank you so much. I appreciate those kind words. But I need everybody out there, including you, Sakoni, to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. I need you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when those seconds will run out on your one life. I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, have a fantastic week and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Thank you
Thanksgiving.
again, Tony.
You're welcome, Jeff.